This is the Astrology Show podcast with Jessica Adams.
Thanks, Shane. This is your Astrology and Tarot for the week starting December 23. Merry Christmas. My Christmas present to you this year is a free 2025 astrology calendar for your computer, desktop, or to print and put on the wall. Just visit jessicaadams.com to pick it up. If it's your birthday, then happy birthday. You will have better conditions at work, a superior job, an improved life at university or college, or a far more fulfilling unpaid job by June 2025. Famous birthdays this week include Derek Smalls, who is 81 on December 23. Lemmy would have been 79 on December 24. Shane McGowan would have been 67 on Christmas Day. Noel Redding would have been 79, also on Christmas Day, and Marianne Faithfull is 78 on December 29. Babies born this week have Venus, Ceres, and Pluto in Aquarius. They will be involved with groups all their lives, but one group in particular will change them forever. Your tarot this week: Aries, the Queen of Pentacles; Taurus, the Chariot; Gemini, Justice; Cancer, the Three of Wands; Leo, the Nine of Pentacles; Virgo, the Ace of Swords; Libra, the Knight of Swords; Scorpio, the Fool; Sagittarius, the Tower; Capricorn, the Four of Cups; Aquarius, the High Priestess; and Pisces, the Two of Swords. Now, in your birth chart, if you have factors at 14 degrees of Gemini, on Christmas Eve, Jupiter at 14 Gemini is square Saturn. Don't let an obstacle involving your brother, sister, or cousin put you off, because this cloud has a silver lining. Aries. This week, Christmas week, is about friendship. You'll be thrown into situations which highlight exactly what you bring to your friends in terms of controlling things or giving them the control. This week is also about groups. Are you getting it right with the most important group this week? These questions about who has the upper hand are so new. And this cycle is also about quite powerful new group chemistry. So this may be online or in the real world. Pluto in Aquarius tells you that together you are all powerful. If you allow power and control issues to separate you, though, they will take away from that by 2025. It's like when the lead singer of a band wants to tell the manager what to do, and that affects the band's ticket sales, or when a political party has issues about the star of the show or the stars of the show, plural. There will be a new beginning near January 29 next year, and maybe that's already in your diary. The group will be reshuffled, or you'll join a new group. In fact, right up until February 23, as the controls change among the friends in the circle, you will realise why this week was so important in getting things on track. Taurus. This week is about your invisible inner self, the person you are when you're by yourself. This shows up in your birth chart and also your solar chart. So you may be trying psychics on YouTube, or seeing a counsellor, or exploring the tarot, Buddhism, or the church. It is Christmas after all. Perhaps you're thinking about the other side of life through a medium, or trying hypnosis, meditating, or just being alone more and contemplating. This is totally normal on these cycles. Dreams also belong to this cycle, and so does any idea that you have about the subconscious mind. And it's only going to be more important in 2025, Taurus. These Pisces and Aries cycles all pick up your soul, your subconscious mind, your spirit, and your psyche. And you need to be in peace and quiet alone in order to go through it all. Now, in your solar chart, you have Chiron in Aries and the North Node in Aries, one sign behind you, which puts you behind the scenes. And in your natal chart, you have Saturn and Neptune in Pisces, the sign that rules the spirit. If you have anything in Pisces in your birth chart, you can double this message about needing to be alone. There is more going on below the surface with you in Christmas week than other people can see. You have a lot to sort out there, no matter if it's through an oracle reading or going to church for the carols. This is a long cycle, and this week is an important part of the future. In time to come, you may end up becoming a professional psychic. You may join a church. You may see a therapist, for example, or study hypnosis, partly as a result of the wheels that turn in the next 7 days. The dates to watch, which this week will affect, are March 29 next year, which may already be in your diary, and then May 26, when it all gets real, as in really real. That is when Saturn moves into your solar 12th house and out of your natal 12th house. So May 26 next year is calling from the future. Gemini, it's all about you this week. This is a good time to work on your image, appearance, look, style, or reputation, your name or your cameo or portrait in the public eye, perhaps online. Between now and 2025, you're up for another relaunch or reboot. You may want to lose weight or just change your wardrobe or sort out your hair. None of this is trivial or superficial. It's actually part of relaunching yourself ongoing. Having been seen as X in the year 2024, you will be seen as Y in 2025. And for some of you, this is about a different job or a voluntary role, which puts you in a different place from other people's perspective. You've also just had a full moon in Gemini, again in your own sign, so you are well and truly poised for changes. Next year, Uranus is about a revolution for the way that you look, appear, or are seen as it goes into Gemini, and the second half of next year is calling now. Your image, look, reputation, or public face is currently where the luck is for you and the growth. It is the best time in years to book cosmetic surgery, photographs, portraits, or to organise a new role for yourself, perhaps to explore how you're seen online. The much shorter haircut, for example, or the longer hair, the different title, contact lenses, and so on, will liberate you from after your birthday. And that's hinted at this week. Do put May 27 in your diary for next year, which is ideal for something really important about your reboot or your relaunch. Cancer. You'll find quite new issues about power and control with your Christmas presents, your bills, cash, business, property and possessions now, or find yourself feeling far more aware of the politics with people or the bank. This financial cycle, which began in November, is usually about marriage, close relationships or family ties, as well as the bank, the children, for example, or perhaps your boyfriend's parents and the will. Pluto is about who has the upper hand or how you share the reins. In Aquarius, in your 8th house, it's about the house, the apartment, the assets, the debts, and the valuables. At the same time, unusually, you have Mars retrograde in Leo in your 2nd house of personal budget. So that's your own money and assets. Normally, this would all be done and dusted in a few weeks, but Mars is going backwards. In fact, it goes backwards until January 6th, then it disappears for a few months. So whatever the hot potato issue is, goes off the boil from January until April 19, when it's all on again. And perhaps the paperwork that you're looking at now or the discussions that you're having might even give you those months. So around April 19. But by June 17, this really is over. Do pace yourself, Cancer. Pluto is about power, as I've mentioned, and how to share or divide it. Mars is usually about action, and it's usually pretty quick, but because it's going backwards, there's an unusual situation here, which is going to take longer than you thought to sort out. So timing is everything. Leo, the square from Saturn to Jupiter, picks up relationships you have which involve sales, purchases, business, rent, and other financial matters, including the bank, which will characterize this Christmas for you. January will probably feel like financial climate change. Acknowledging what went before 18 or 19 years ago will be part of the deal next month. There is karma rolling from the past, and you are owed or you owe, and that will result in a different set of numbers for you next month. January is writing a letter from the future to December this week, and it's all about the house, the apartment, or the money. I've been talking about this quite a lot because you have these transits in your 8th house. So typically the mortgage and the marriage, or factors affecting the family inheritance. Now, this week is a useful obstacle. It is a bridge to cross, but it's a good bridge to cross. And then in January, you do start this karmic cycle. You are repaid perhaps spiritually, and if you still owe from the past, you will find yourself settling up. It may not even be with the same people or organisation, but the song remains the same. Maybe January is even in your diary. If so, look at your emails from 18 or 19 years ago and see what comes up. What I can tell you about Saturn in Pisces is that it ends on the 26th of May. There will be no more restrictions, no more barriers, and no more obstacles, which you have been living with all year. So perhaps the end of May is also in your diary. Virgo. Well, it's Christmas, but it's also Mercury retrograde. So the family circle may see rescheduling, or the house, apartment, or holiday home may need plan B and plan C. Your household may be in flux at Christmas, or even your hometown and homeland. If you're listening to this in the US or France or even Syria, that would make perfect sense for obvious reasons. Even if this isn't about your country, but it's about the family or the household or the home, you will be rethinking, rescheduling, and sometimes retracting an offer or a promise, or you may be seeing that from other people. So that's your house, apartment, holiday accommodation, household, family, and your place on the map. It ends on January 4, but until then, having alternatives up your sleeve is a smart idea. Virgo, you also have a waiting game going on with or for a partner. He or she could be any kind of partner, your wife, your ex, maybe your other half at work. Take it on the chin this week and try to see the benefits of waiting. They will definitely be there. Then the barriers will come down on May 26. That month or June may even be in your diary regarding this person, or just at the back of your mind. Perhaps you're thinking about another 6 months and so on for a waiting game. Sometimes the issue is an ex-partner who you are fighting, or a third corner in a love triangle. That can happen too. And again, the walls will come down on May 26 next year, and this week will nod to the future. Libra. This is a classic cycle for letting go and releasing the past with a parent, your brother or sister, aunt, uncle, or other branches on the family tree. Imagine how the Librans in the royal family must feel every Christmas. And yes, you can look at your own family circle in the light of that, because all the drama of household and family changes, even a house or apartment in your life, your town or country, has been going on for such a long time. In fact, it began in 2008. That is when Pluto moved into your zone of relatives and the extended family circle. Well, you're free of the politics now. The cycle is over. It went in November. And since the 7th of December, you will have been able to turn your back on the past. This new Capricorn transit is telling you to close a chapter from the past and get ready for 2025, which will be so different because the boot is on the other foot. There is something else showing up here too, a big foreign opportunity. It may be abroad, or it may be with a foreigner in your own town. This opportunity can only grow. In fact, you may have said yes by June 2025. That's because Jupiter is in Gemini in your 9th house for the first time in 12 years. This week hints at that. Uranus also goes into Gemini, the same thing, foreigners and foreign countries, and Uranus is about quite radical change. So you could go for an extended holiday, export, study overseas, study online, or even emigrate. You could find foreign people coming into your life and your town who change everything for you. Don't miss a trick this week, Libra. Jupiter is square Saturn, so even the roadblocks this week will strangely clear a path for next year. Scorpio. Well, Pluto is in Aquarius well and truly, so your home life, your extended family relationships, or your property interests, the house or the apartment, shows quite political or potent questions. This scenario can also extend to flatmates and even to a partner if he or she lives with you. Pluto is about nuclear power and has been since 1930 when it was discovered. It's about knowing what could happen and never going there. In that way, the balance of power is kept in the family or in the house or the apartment. Am I talking about your son here or your brother, your wife, or a more distant relative? Pluto will be in your family zone with other factors until February 2025. So this week is a really important step for you. And of course, it's Christmas. Every step has to be towards sharing the control together. You're working towards a compromise and you'll sign off from it in February next year. All of you have to make it as easy as possible for the rest to give way and make way, and that will help you as you go through this cycle. This also applies to your flatmate, your roommate, or any living partner. By mutual consent with them or a family member, an agreement that nobody should push any button ever is slowly coming to pass. We should also talk about money too, or valuables, or a house or apartment. It's in your will to others, or it's willed to you. Now, this is a good thing. It's a growing thing. It's a solution waiting to happen, and it's an opportunity in the making, and it will be hinted at hugely this week. Sagittarius. So what's happening to courtship, the bedroom, children and young adults, or just the next generation this Christmas? Well, you have major transits in Aries, and in January, a rather stuck situation which has been going around in circles will stop. Then next May 2025, Saturn and Neptune change signs. So the answer is this week nods to the future. And there will be a lot of change from May next year, particularly attitude change. This may be about your godson. It may be your thoughts about dating. It may be about the more intimate side of your marriage. And when we go to your birth chart, we find Mars in Leo in the 5th house too. The same thing. Dating, mating, relating, parenting, godparenting, or substitute parenting like teaching. Well, this week is about breathing space, because you have time to work out your approach. You will find mavericks around you, wildcards and outsiders, Malcolm McLaren to your John Lydon. And one such maverick will show you a very different way forward. Now, this may be with the world of children or young adults, or with intimate relationships. It may be about your daughter or your wife, and sometimes it's your end of year class. And maybe a student is here to teach you that life is an experiment. Whatever you're facing now, Sagittarius, the experiment shows you that you can get away with X, Y, and Z. Chiron is here to show you that what should not exist, cannot exist, actually exists. This week is also a nod to January. In fact, January may be in your diary, Sagittarius. The North Node changes signs then, and a stuck situation stops. The merry-go-round ends. So this may be your son who keeps moving back in, then moving out again, or it may be your mutual discussions about having babies or not. January ends it. Trying for a baby is another good example of a stuck situation which ends in January for whatever reason. Then everything changes again next May when you have huge decisions to make, very close to May 26th. And then in the future, you'll be able to look back at Christmas and say to yourself, well, that's when I took the first steps. Capricorn. 'Tis the season to realise that Uranus in Taurus is about being free in your personal life. This applies to pregnancy and babies, sons and daughters, grandchildren and godchildren, nieces and nephews, and the world of children in general. whether you volunteer with children or teenagers or you work there. Freedom takes you in a new direction this week. Now, Christmas does come with a rather stereotyped view of what closeness should be or what children or younger people should be. This applies no matter if you're single or married, have children or do not have them. But what we have here is alternatives rolling towards you. This week is about forgetting what other people say your personal life should be in terms of the bedroom or courtship, or what a younger generation should be to you. This week is entirely about your own space and your own independence, so you're free to choose what you do and how you do it. Being your own person, doing it your way, inventing a new way to operate are all options. And this is not just about this Christmas week, it's about the next 6 months. In fact, this week also shows you realities that weren't there before. What's very new with the family is a new way to approach your brother, sister, or cousin, bearing in mind that a waiting game will end next May 2025. Walls will come down next May and a waiting game will end. And perhaps that month will come up in discussions or in the mail this week. Despite May 2025 calling to you this week with your brother, sister, or cousin, you also have something quite new coming up on April 27 with a Taurus new moon, which is also hinted at this week. So we're at Christmas, but already looking at Easter, which will be a fresh start with close relationships or a younger generation. Aquarius. Christmas brings Mars in Leo, your opposite sign, your opposite number in life, or anyone who is at odds with you is in sharp focus. This is classically your husband, but it can also be your new girlfriend's ex. Now, Mars is going backwards until early January when he disappears, then returns for a replay in April to June. So this week tells you allow a lot longer than you normally would for an action plan regarding him or her. The choices you make now are far more likely to be right for all of you if you can slow down and cool down or refuse to be rushed or pushed. This also applies to enemies, opponents, or rivals. What would normally take a few weeks of action stations now goes backwards, disappears, then pops up again next year. So this is not normal, Aquarius. It may be the father of your son or your ex-girlfriend who pops up every Christmas. Give this situation with him or her, which is rising in heat, a lot more time and choose your battles, as they will be stuck and stop-start. There are some fantastic solutions for you as a parent or lover between now and next June 2025. Big opportunities and really big answers. So it's complicated, but everything can be figured out if you give yourself more time. In fact, June or July may be on your calendar now or in your diary for changes that you want to make in the bedroom or with babies, children, or younger adults. Halfway through next year, you basically see a revolution coming that will set you free. If you want to pace yourself with your other half or the other side, the issue that is going to disappear on January 6 will come back on April 19, then you're done with it once and for all by June 17 next year. Pisces, well, here you are in the thick of financial and property cycles, which can only come along every 18 to 19 years. You will sign off from a circular, repetitive, stuck situation in January, and it may even be something that you know about this Christmas because your husband, for example, is involved, or maybe your mother, another example. Maybe it's beyond personal and it's business, but the family is in there. The decisions that you make now on these Aries and Libra cycles will generally translate into pounds, dollars, or euros, but sometimes it's property, possessions, or investments. January is a sign-off from this year, 2024, and May 2025 is a sign-on to a completely different approach to your budget. Maybe May is in your diary now, as well as January, or you find discussions this week bring it up. The reason that you have been stuck in a circular situation with your money or property is the North Node cycle, but January finishes it. It's karmic. You get stuck in circles of karma from 18 or 19 years ago because something has to be settled spiritually or there has to be closure. And that's why no matter how much you try to do that's different or to change what's going on, you always end up back at the same place. The nodes are the only thing in astrology which go backwards, and you are now well and truly ready to sign off. What is very new, though, is a massive solution with a house, apartment, garden, or other residence, which is here now, hinted at in Christmas week, and will still be here until June next year. The Jupiter-Saturn square is a passing obstacle, but it's a useful bridge to next year with your home or your interest in real estate. This should not deter you, as it is a kind of obstacle course with a good finish. Important dates for the house, the apartment, the land, the other residence or real estate include the new moon in Gemini on May 27 next year, then June 8 and 9. So discussions this week or forward thinking may even take you to the middle of next year. Whatever is going on for you financially, home and family offer you solutions. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch up with you next week. And don't forget to pick up your Christmas present from my website, your free astrology calendar for 2025.